Hey everyone, Chris Stegall here with MK Partners, and we are back with another installment of our TDX Meet the Speaker session. I'm joined today by Lisa Dick of Salesforce. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Chris.
And Lisa is speaking at Salesforce this year on a session, Learn How to Communicate More Effectively with Stakeholders. So excited to see that, Lisa. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your session?
I sure do, Chris. Thank you. So, the really cool thing about this session is it's based on feedback that we have gotten from the admin community. One of the things we hear all the time from admins is that a lot of folks in their organizations don't really know what they do or how to engage with admins effectively. And so, this session is to present a brand new tool called the Salesforce Admin Enablement Kit. And so, we are using these very short 20 minutes in this session to help admins explain what their role is, how they add value to their organizations, but also how to talk about their skills, how to talk about the tools they use, with the goal being to not just explain their jobs, right, but also to have their organizations interact with them in a more effective way. So ostensibly, they're going to be getting better questions from their stakeholders, more engagement from folks that are using the platform as well. So in addition to it being like a here's what I do every day, it's also a really cool way to get more out of the Salesforce platform, but in a way that also helps your colleagues and coworkers understand what your role is and understand, frankly, how much Salesforce admins do.
Very cool. That seems like it's going to be super valuable and interesting for admins. I know that I'm nosy, so if I was a stakeholder, I would also want to attend to be like, what should I know? What should I expect? But then also for partners, because that's also a situation where you are often trying to take a platform that you know inside and out and translate that knowledge to something digestible and feedbackable to a stakeholder. So super interesting. Excited to see that.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you brought that sort of partner and employer and stakeholder piece up. So the enablement kit is an actual deck that is meant to be presented to all of those different audiences. And so within the slides, there actually is nuance that we have added to be able to communicate with those different groups, to present what you do in a way that feels really relatable to each of those different sets of stakeholders or partners. And it's an infinitely customizable deck that an admin can take and really make it their own, but also make it super relevant to the audience that they're presenting it to.
Cool. And then selfishly from a marketing perspective, I love anytime that somebody gets a deck from the outside and they're not like coming to me and saying, hey, can you build me this? Also, I have, three different audiences and I need it to be infinitely customizable. It's like,
That's
oh,
right. And I
so
need it by like next week. So
yeah, exactly. I need it yesterday because
yeah,
they asked me for a presentation and I didn't have one ready. So
that's right.
very cool. Can't wait to see this. And then Lisa, I have been asking the speakers these three questions about TDX.
Okay.
So since you're in the spotlight now, first up is, what's your favorite part of TDX?
Oh man, this will be my third TDX, and of course, I have to say the community. Just there's that moment when you walk in the door and you're just kind of taking it all in, and then you turn around and you see somebody you know that you haven't seen in a year, and just being a part of all of it just feels like a really special experience. I would be remiss to say that one of my other favorite parts is just all of the sessions that there are to go to. I think regardless of where someone is and their level of experience, there's so many sessions available for everybody. And I'm really excited about the technical content and career content that we're going to be presenting.
Yeah. Yeah, the connections and community are always like amazing, but also always surprising. It feels like the Salesforce ecosystem is huge and millions
Yes,
of people, and I'm sure it is numbers wise. But like you said, you walk through the door, you turn around, and there's three people that you know. And there's
yes,
always somebody like waving in the distance,
that's
and you're like,
right.
oh,
Yeah, it feels like a homecoming, and then all of a sudden a mascot pops up and makes it even better.
yeah. Awesome. And then next question is, who should attend your session? I think we brushed on it a little bit.
We touched on it a little bit, but honestly, everybody, right? Anyone who works with an admin, is an admin, doesn't know what an admin does, doesn't know if the organization has an admin. Basically, anybody who uses Salesforce, which is everyone who's going to be at TDX, it really is a very helpful session for everyone to go to. Like I said, admins are, they do so much in the ecosystem and so much in their organizations. And they're their colleagues, their partners, understanding what they do is critical to getting the most out of the platform. So literally everybody.
Yeah. And I do appreciate how the title of your session, what like it's not admin communication for stakeholders. It's broad enough that like even if I'm not an admin, I see this and I'm interested in checking it out. Because I think you hit on an interesting point. There are a lot of people who end up becoming admins who have been doing the work and just didn't realize that they had the title already. I know my introduction to Salesforce was I was working in business development and sales, and I hated making cold calls, and I kept making requests for things in our org. And eventually they were like, hey, please just build the things that you want. We're going to give you permissions. And then at my next company, I was like, oh, I want to do all these things. And they said, oh, you're an admin. And I said, okay, I guess so.
Okay.
And it was a lot more fun than making cold calls. So I think it's, you don't know what you don't know. So opportunities like this to expose you to things that you're uniquely qualified for or interested in are always exciting.
Definitely. Yes.
And then last question here is advice for first time TDX attendees.
Okay, this was me 2 years ago. I would say use the agenda builder and make a plan for yourself. Like I said, there are so many sessions and so many good ones. The other really cool thing about this year is there's going to be a lot of sessions that are recorded. So if you go to a session, you think, man, I would love to see that again, you can check in the events app to see if it's going to be recorded. You can watch it again afterwards, but really take the time, like the night before, plan it out. But just enjoy it, right? Like the community piece is really, for me, I think the strongest part of it. And if you don't have a buddy and you're coming by yourself, connect with people, right? Everyone loves sort of helping new folks in the ecosystem navigate events like this. So I think I'm throwing out maybe more than one piece of advice here, but I would say start with Agenda Builder, make a plan for yourself, and really just enjoy it, right? If you find yourself wandering around and you don't really know what your destination is, that's okay. Take it in, right? Walk up to a random session and just sit down at it, right? And
Yeah.
I think just embrace kind of the 2 days of learning and fun and just kind of get swept up in the excitement of it all.
Yeah. I think that is terrific advice. And I think, yeah, I think some of the best sessions I've attended are ones that surprised that weren't on my agenda builder. I always
Yeah,
load my agenda builder up and then, just kind of go where the energy takes you.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, and like you said, everyone's super friendly. I think a easy way to start a conversation at any Salesforce event is just saying like, how did you get started with Salesforce? What introed you? Because people are always eager to tell their story. I somehow jumped in to tell my story in the middle of this call. So
I love it. I love
yeah,
that's a really great piece of advice. You're totally right. And everyone's story is so unique, and everyone kind of comes to it from their own place and background. So I think I love that advice.
yeah. And there's one of the other things that I really love about the Salesforce community is like the total lack of gatekeeping. It does seem like everybody is trying to help everybody get up. Nobody's pulling up the ladder after them. Everyone's like, oh, I want to show you my exact footsteps, but also encourage you to just keep going on the path that you're on because there's no wrong way to get where you want to be in the Salesforce ecosystem.
100%. I think that is like the best way to put it. I really do think that's one of the things that makes this community so unique and so incredible to be a part of is that everyone will absolutely tell you their story and say, here's what worked for me. How can I help you in your story and in your journey? And that's always the next question is like, how can I
Yeah,
help you? Which is just like, it's the most heartwarming place to be.
exactly. Cool. Well, the session, Learn How to Communicate More Effectively with Stakeholders, is on Thursday, March 7th in Community Cove Level 3, and it's at 3:30 p.m. So do be sure to add that to your agenda builder. You can see I've added it to mine. So if you attend, I will see you there. I want to thank Lisa for hopping on this call, introducing us to the session, and giving us some great advice for first time and returning TDX attendees. And then I'd like to also thank everybody for watching. As always, please be sure to like and subscribe here for Salesforce news, events. We'll be doing some TDX recaps, some posts from TDX. And if you are attending, we will look forward to seeing you there. So thanks again, Lisa, and I'll see you in a couple of days here.
You sure will. Thanks so much, Chris.
Bye.